And so you're asking yourself, what about this broad beans? How good is it? Well, I'll tell you, if you try broad beans once, you will definitely use it again. As for potatoes, well, I think you use that every day. But then there's the goat. What about goat? Well, goat is used by some 70% of the world population. Meat eaters eat goat. Of course, I'm not sure if they're including people who eat sheep, mutton. One thing I will tell you though, goat is a very flavorful meat, and it's not at all difficult to prepare. This is goat meat. It is lean, and what I've done is to add some salt and pepper to start with now, just to start. This is my way of preparing goat meat. First of all, coconut oil. I use coconut oil because I'm going to be using the oil later. Right now, I am not cooking the goat meat. I am simply browning the goat meat. There's a difference, okay? I like to brown the meat thoroughly, and that's what I'm doing. I'm browning the meat in coconut oil. Earlier, I used the coconut oil to fry an egg for breakfast. Now, of course, I'm adding curry to the coconut oil. I love curry. And curry is good for you. Google it. You'll find out. So, because you can drink coconut oil, that's one of the reasons why I used coconut oil. I simply added the curry to the coconut oil, mixed it well. Right now, what happened is I did not have enough coconut oil, but then that's okay, because I can always add more liquid later. I added a generous amount of curry to my coconut oil. Now you know I'm going to be cooking the goat meat in a slow cooker overnight. I always like to line the bottom of my slow cooker with onions because I like onions. Anyway, back to the curry, back to the coconut oil. Mixed well, okay? To the curry mixture, of course, I added more onions. I like onions. And I mixed the onions in with the curry and the oil, just as you see here. I might as well admit it, I cannot have enough onions. I cannot have enough curry. So, right here is a dish unto itself. Coconut oil, curry, and onions with a little bit of salt. Boy. It is so good. It could almost be placed in a blender and used as a spread. Anyway, that's another subject. Earlier, I mentioned that I thought I did not have enough coconut oil. Not to worry, I added more curry. I like curry. But I also added some water. That's okay. Oil and water doesn't mix, you say. Well, it does here. Because I needed more liquid. You know my mantra, be creative when you cook. Speaking about being creative, broad beans and potato. 1 can of broad bean, 1 potato. Yes, I know, the can said butter beans, but butter beans and broad beans is the same thing, okay? Now you know. Did you notice that I added more black pepper? Well, I'll tell you something. I think cooking is a creative process. And it is something that everyone and anyone can do. You add what you like, and when you add what you like, you love what you do. If you were standing next to me, smelling this beautiful dish, oh, it smells so good. Anyway, back to cooking. So the goat meat goes into the slow cooker, the crock pot, if you will. And in addition to the goat meat, I also added all the goodies. For example, the sautéed onions, the onions that has been sautéed in curry and coconut oil, that was added. I also added, of course, the beans. You saw that. Broad beans or butter beans, depends on where you're from. And then I added some potato. Now, I got to tell you, the potato, I could have added more, really. I could have added more potato. I probably could have added more goat meat, too. But anyway, in goes the broad bean, and to that I put the lid on. And to all that I added some water, because I'm going to need a lot of gravy when I eat my rice later. Now here comes the magic. Scotch bonnet pepper. I like Scotch bonnet pepper. Many of you will be cooking this dish, and you're going to be adding your own flavors in your own proportion. That's okay. The lid goes on. It's placed on low, and then I go to bed. The next morning, it is goat meat with broad bean or butter bean and potato on a bed of rice. So delicious. So very, very delicious. By the way, if you live in a climate with a lot of humidity and your salt keeps sticking together, this is what I suggest. You know how you have your salt and pepper shaker, right? You add your pepper to your pepper shaker. Well, before you actually add your salt to your salt shaker, I suggest that you put some rice in your salt shaker and then add the salt. That'll take care of your salt clumping, and that'll take care of the humidity problem. Bon appetit, and as always, please continue to share your comments and your suggestions. And thank you so very much.